Before we get down into it, I do have to leave at about 11:30, 11:40 today. So I may rearrange things at the end of the meeting if we're starting to run late. But today's our senior central holiday luncheon, and senior staff serves the seniors. So I gotta go. All right, first thing we have is the minutes of the previous meeting, the August 16th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them? Okay, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Okay. I'm sorry for interrupting. I did want on the city of Derby where the vote was taken at the end. I did not vote, so I don't know if that needs to be reflected, and that's against the unanimous write-up there.
Yeah, it should be reflected, I believe. You abstained,
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other changes or edits? All right, so can we revise our motion to be as amended?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Any
Okay,
abstentions?
I will abstain, Diane.
Thank you, Diane. All right, the minutes are passed. So our first order of business is to hear is Municipal Accountability Review Board update regarding the City of Hartford. Is somebody from the city presenting, or is that staff?
The mayor is with us today,
Okay.
as
Mr.
well
Mayor,
as Julian.
Good morning.
feel free to turn on your camera if you have one. Otherwise, you have the floor.
Great. Good morning. Thanks, everybody. Can everybody hear me and see me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thanks very much for the time this morning. It's good to see everybody. Julian, our budget director, is on, and there may be some others. I can't see all the participants on the meeting, but there may be some others on. We have a presentation that we'd be glad to walk through, but if I can maybe just summarize our status and I think why we're here today, that may be most helpful. As everyone remembers, the city of Hartford was actively involved, in fact, led the advocacy effort to create the Municipal Accountability Review Board back in 2017, and then voluntarily requested designation as a Tier 3 municipality at the same time that we were negotiating contract assistance agreements with the state. We have been in MARB Tier 3 for the last 6 years, and over the course of this last year, hit the last of the benchmarks required to satisfy all of the requirements to exit MARB supervision, and the MARB voted on that motion a couple of months ago to recognize that we have now satisfied all those conditions. That said, as a city, we actually have valued very much the relationship with the Municipality Accountability Review Board. We think that the reporting requirements have been beneficial, both because they provide us the opportunity to make sure that we are as rigorous as we want to be, and also we like the fact that there is a chance to share our numbers with a third party and make sure that we are being open and transparent and maintaining that trust. So as a result, we were looking for ways to maintain that relationship. And it's clear under the MARB statute that while we are no longer eligible for Tier 3 designation, that we still do satisfy conditions for a voluntary designation as Tier 1. And then under the MARB statute, a Tier 1 municipality may voluntarily, at the request of the municipal CEO, go into Tier 2. So that's the path that we're seeking. At the end of the day, the practical effect of it is to move the city of Hartford from Tier 3 down to Tier 2, which we think is the right and responsible thing to do. And again, the MARB has already voted to de-designate us from Tier 3. So I think the business before the commission today is the process of accepting our voluntary request to be designated as a Tier 2 municipality.
Okay. I have no questions for you. I think I think it's admirable that you want to continue the relationship, that you have found it helpful. So I'm happy to see that. So I'll open up to other commissioners. Mike, do you have any questions you want to ask Hartford?
No, no specific questions. Just certainly also agree that it's good that, you're still inclined to work with MARB as the city of Hartford continues to move forward and continue the path of progress that certainly has been made over the past few years.
Tony?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Glenn?
I don't have any questions either.
Becky?
No questions, thanks.
Diane?
No questions, but I commend the city of Hartford for all of their progress over the last few years.
Kim?
I agree. I do commend the city of Hartford under this mayor's leadership, as well as the budget area. They have made a great deal of progress over these years, and again, we can't discount the fact of the great state of Connecticut coming to the rescue, as well as the MARB's oversight, which all added to the progress that has been made to date. I think that also that there is still some more work to be done, as was mentioned at the MARB meeting, and that it would be very infancy if we should let you go entirely at this moment, as the state continues to pay on the Hartford's debt. And so I think that the recommendation of the mayor and the MARB is a good recommendation, especially with the change in administration that's coming in Hartford. So I think that this would be a wise decision, and I support it.
Okay, with all that, I would like a motion that the MFAC agrees with the city in the MARB intent for the city of Hartford to be redesignated from a Tier 3 to a Tier 2 municipality under the Municipal Accountability Review Board oversight. That is a mouthful. May I have a motion?
I'll move
So
that.
So moved.
Bill, did you get one of them? I think it was Diane or Kim. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Becky. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, thank you.
Best wishes to you, Mayor.
Thanks,
We're gonna
Sandra.
miss
Thanks
you.
to all of you.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you all. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have several communities that have yet to file their FY22 municipal audit reports. They're here to report to us on why. So I think we're going in alphabetical order. Branford, do we have anybody from Branford here?
Yes, we do, Kate. It's Jim Finch, Finance Director.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good, Kate. How are you?
Okay.
And we have a score of people here from Branford. We have the first selectman, Jamie. We have the Assistant Finance Director, Catherine LaBanca, and we have two representatives from CLA, Ron Nosick and Vanessa Rosito. So that is our team here today. So my understanding of this meeting is for us to discuss what Branford's plan is to get back on track. And I did submit a letter and the committee has received copies of the September letter. So I won't go into all the details because my understanding is that you're probably trying to look forward, not backwards. So what I'd like to do is, excuse me, to start with the 2022 audit and kind of work our way out in terms of what we're trying to do to get caught up. So basically, with the 22 audit, currently it is in technical review, and I think Ron Nosick could confirm that. At the time of the writing, we had two outstanding items. There was basically the legal letter that we have since gotten We got that about 3 days ago, and the auditors have that. The school business manager had mentioned that he had given some materials to the auditors as well. So, and as far as he knows, there's nothing else to basically give them. So the 22 audit is in technical review. We hope to have that by the end of December, possibly early January at the latest. But again, right now that's with CLA, so you know, they can maybe better estimate technical review timing. So that's the 22 audit.
Okay, let
The
me interrupt you
23
there.
Yep.
Ron, if you are on, or Vanessa,
I'm here.
Can we expect that by the end of December, or?
I would hope so. Yeah, it's in, as Jim said, it's in tech review. We are waiting for a legal update from the Board of Ed side. We do have Jim's as from the town side, as he indicated, but it is in technical review. There's 109 jobs with our national review group right now, and we're, I think, 106. So it's not going to come out of tech review tomorrow by any stretch of the imagination, but I would think that you know, Vanessa might be able to speak as to what the turnaround right now coming out of that pool is, but barring any significant review comments that are going to take us some time to clear, which we're not anticipating, we can clear those comments pretty quickly. But I don't, Vanessa, I see you now on screen. Do you know what the drag is coming out of there as far as turnaround?
So I feel like as long as we had it in by the 15th, we should be able to issue by the end of December, again,
Okay.
barring no big issues that come out of technical review. So our hope is that it is issued by December 31st.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys. All right, Jim, go back now. Tell us about 23.
Sure, thank you. And so 23, basically the Board of Finance appointed CLA to do the 23 audit. And our plan is for field work to begin in the end of January or early February. We're shooting for a completion date of June. And we do understand that we're going to you know, need to file extensions on the 23 audit. And I think, you know, Vanessa and I talked about this probably a few weeks back, but I think we're still on track for that schedule, Vanessa. Is that still doable?
Yeah, so, and I don't know if the committee knows this, but Ron Nozick is retiring at the end of this year. So then I'm taking over the Branford audit for 23 and going forward. We're actually engaged for 24 too. So I think the thinking is to just, you know, get them ultra organized in January and get through the 23 audit and start to think about the 24 audit too.
All right, so that's going to be my first question is, how, you know, with all this delay and not getting 23 done until June of 24, what kind of shape are you going to be in, Jim, to be closing 24 and be ready for field work in the fall so that you can issue on time for 24?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point. That's kind of where the full court press has come on. And what I think it probably bears a little bit of background. What Branford typically would do is once the audit was completed, you know, the auditors would make a presentation to the Board of Finance and then they would get reappointed. You know, and looking at this, obviously that schedule isn't going to work. So, and plus we were at a disadvantage because a number of towns that would complete their audits on time would then turn around and appoint their auditors. And so a lot of the audit firms were getting locked up before we came around to try to engage our auditors. And I think everybody in this call knows there are a shortage of municipal auditors. So you really want to sort of get in the queue early. So one of the things that our plan is, Kate, is to essentially, you know, appoint CLA for 2024 as well, so that way they will be under contract and they will be able to work on 2 engagements simultaneously. So that's some of the things that we're trying to do. So we're essentially trying to align our resources and our contracts with what our plan is. And so in order to do that, we have to get a bid waiver from the Board of Selectmen. And then we have to have the Board of Finance appoint the auditors. Since the writing of this letter, last week I did attend the Board of Selectmen's meeting and explained to them the timing, explained to them, you know, the scheduling and how important it was to line up the resources. And so the Board of Selectmen have waived the bidding requirements, which frees up the Board of Finance to appoint CLA for 2024. I've discussed this with the chairman of the Board of Finance, a name you may recall, Joe Mooney, and
Yeah.
and so Joe understands where we're at. I've shared all these letters that I've sent to Kim and the MFAC to Joe, and he's aware of this, and he supports appointing CLA for 24. So that's the goal. As you know, things can go awry. I always describe the audit process as kind of a triangle. You know, on one side of the triangle, it's the Board of Ed, the other side is the town, and the other side is the auditor. So if we can all kind of row together and go with this plan, I've shared this plan with the Board of Ed as well, and so we're gonna give it our best shot. We realize that we're going to be spending most of calendar year 24 on audit issues. One bright note is that unlike the past year, we won't be upgrading the financial system and we won't be implementing a budget presentment system. And so we're hoping that we can, barring any unexpected turnover in staff and some of the other challenges we've had in the past, that we can actually push to get this done.
So have you given any thought to changing your whole process and engaging an auditor for a longer term than 1 year at a time? I mean, aside from this 1 year advance doing 24, but it seems to me like that could be part of your holdup. And the other question I have is, what got you so far behind in the first place, and has that all been resolved?
Yeah, well, basically, I'll refer you back to the September 28th memo. We did have, we were also victims of some, staff turnover in the auditing firm. The 21 audit was in technical review, unfortunately, for a real long time. And as Ron Nosek can attest to, when he spoke to the Board of Finance, that a good part of that delay was on them. And listen, like I said, there were three sides of the triangle. I'm not suggesting that we weren't partly responsible as well. I had mentioned the fact that we're putting in a new financial system, and we also, we're doing the budget presentment system. We really got off track at this level a couple of years ago when we had troubles in our tax office, and the town has moved away pursuant to the significant finding in a prior audit. We actually changed our ordinance, so which wasn't easy to do. So that position is no longer elected. Now the person who's in the position now was elected, but going forward, that is not a elected position. So that position was not on the ballot this past November. The folks at the Board of Ed have been there, now for not quite a year. So we're hoping that there's no turnover there, and I plan to stick around for at least another year, and I think Catherine does too. So I think when we look at all of that, we think right now we have positions in place and a good team. To answer your first question last, Kate, is I had that thought did occur to me when we were basically or when I making the recommendation to appoint CLA for 24, and the thought was, maybe we should have locked them up for 2 years. Other years we talked about it internally with the chairman of the Board of Finance, but that was prior to the challenges in the government finance and municipal auditing world.
Okay.
As Mike LeBlanc would be happy to know, I did share with them a lot of the discussions we've had about the state of the municipal auditing world from our GFOA board meetings. And I think I think that folks understood that, and I think Mike, it was your recommendation at the time is if you have somebody that you're working well with, that lock them up. I get called, to recommend an auditing firm, and I find out that that there's in somebody's engagement, there's only one firm that bids anyway, and so I think that's a good point. I think maybe going forward, but that would be looking out for 25, 26. And I would have to then convince the Board of Selectmen to do a multi-year bid waiver, but but that is an option.
Yeah. Okay. Mike, you have any questions? You're muted. Mike, you're muted.
All right, thank you. Jim, just can you catalog to maybe, as you get, by the middle of 2024 to determine what that resolution is going to be, whether it be going out to bid or securing an extension on the contract with your current auditors so that you can have 2025 and perhaps 2026 locked up well in advance of the close of those fiscal years?
Yeah, when you say catalog, are you saying just kind of put a note in a tickler file to discuss that with the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen in mid 24? Is that what you mean by cataloging?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, we could certainly do that. I'm just curious. I know we have some colleagues on the call. I mean, is that what you guys have found that's been an effective strategy to to do 2-year engagements? Is that something that
we do more?
You guys feel?
I can make a comment on that. We
Sure.
when we went out to bid, we bid for a 4-year engagement.
We do as well in Bristol.
Yeah. Ours is, I forget how long, but usually we do, I think, 3 years with an option to renew for 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bristol does 4, Woodbridge does 4, and Darien does 3 with an option for year 4.
We actually do have an option to renew as well, Jim.
Yeah, we have an option for 2 years.
Is that something you guys have done historically, or is that in light of the environment we're in?
No, we've always
Yeah.
we've always done a long term. We also, our purchasing rules, this is a professional service, so we're not obligated to bid. We do typically do RFPs, allowing us to select someone who's not necessarily the lowest bidder. But we don't need a bid waiver to do a multi-year contract. But that's our local rules.
Yeah, Jim, in Waterbury, we're obligated to bid as well in our contracts. Several of the contracts over the past 10 to 12 years have been 3 years with multi-year options on top of that.
Well, actually, I don't want to be presumptuous, but possibly if the minutes of your meeting could reflect that you made those suggestions, that might be helpful in my efforts to be going to the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen in the future. I mean, I don't control the minutes, so I'm just suggesting it might be helpful to have that in there.
I think we can do that, right, Bill?
You can take that into consideration, yes.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay. Tony, did you have any questions?
I just as a comment, just to I commend your efforts to get on track by the end of 2024 in your thoughtful approach. So we're looking forward to that. I did notice you had in one of your letters a possible addition to your staff, and is that something that you are contemplating or in the budget?
It's something that we've been discussing internally. There seems to be some support for it. We're trying to determine, if we try to, supplement our efforts with, outside folks. In other words, do we do it like on a contract, with someone to come in and maybe work on tax, or add a position? And so we've actually been talking about that in terms of some of the tasks, some of the job descriptions, some of the requirements, and then looking at other at other positions to see how that might fit in, given some of the other duties. But it is something that we're talking about. One of the challenges that we have is, you know, as we all face, sometimes you bring someone in and then, you know, the first year you got to spend some time training them and getting them through the cycle. And that's not a luxury we necessarily have, given how packed 24 is going to be on audit stuff. So we're sort of trying to balance both those things, Tony.
Thank you.
Glenn?
No, I just wanted to echo Tony's thoughts that it looks like everything's been pretty reasonably thought through and planned through, and I do think making sure the staff is fully staffed, that certainly helps soften any departures, as well as I think with all what you have said will get you where you're looking to go.
Becky?
I have no questions. Thanks, Jim.
Diane?
I have nothing further to add that's already been said, other than we all know what the staffing challenges are this year, have been over the last couple of years. So good luck with that, Jim. I hope it all works out so you can get everything resolved for next year.
Thanks.
Kim?
Nope, the fellow members have touched upon all of it, and I've already had the privilege of meeting with Branford.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming. And we do hope that that 22 audit gets filed by the end of this month, and that you're able to get the 23 one moving and done. So,
Well, no offense to the mayor of Hartford or this committee, but I hope I don't see you in this environment again.
well, you won't see me, Jim. This is my last meeting.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, you're retiring, Kate?
I'm retiring from this committee.
Oh, good. Okay,
I've been doing it a long time.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Danbury. Who do we have here from Danbury?
Hi, this is Dan Garrick. I'm Director of Finance, and we have our new mayor, Roberto Alves, just took office December 1st, so this is all new to him. His Chief of Staff, Taylor O'Brien, and Francesco Papadelupo is our Government Affairs and Communication Advisor.
Yeah, and you're all, well, Dan, you're not quite so new, but the rest of you, I grew up in Bethel, so I read the Danbury News Times still. So I had read about the appointments. Congratulations to all of you. And what are we going to do about this? You guys are pretty far behind.
Yeah.
So what is your status? Go ahead.
So the 21 audit is what really got us behind. That was completed in June. We were going to jump right into the audit. Really didn't have our kickoff until the end of August because we're trying to have that with combined audit committee and the Board of Ed Finance Committee. So there's a little more oversight on this audit and just, you know, trying to pull the whole team together. At that meeting, we were trying to get it started September 1st. Board of Ed had an issue with that because of filing their EFS by September 1st. So we had a little more of a delay on starting that. And we continue to have delays on the Board of Ed side, which is also backing up our work. I finally got, just yesterday, we got yet another update on their trial balances. They seem to work now. There's some accounts that they're using that are incorrect. For example, they have fund balance. They don't carry a fund balance. That's the money that's due back to the city. So on our side, we're going through doing those journal entries, and right after this call, I'll be calling them and correcting the naming of those accounts. But at least we can move forward. And that's the real logjam right now on the 22 audit. We do have staffing issues in our office. I've been working for a year and a half without an assistant director. We've tried to fill that position 3 times. We're waiting on civil service to give the test for that. And then hopefully one of those applicants will be qualified this time. We also have a grants compliance officer, which won't necessarily help with the audit, but it removes a lot of the work that one of our senior accountant is doing. So she can focus more on the audit side and the day-to-day operations of accounting. Our payroll supervisor, we've also had the same problems. This is our third time going out to post for that position. And civil services meeting right now, actually, to approve the list for that. And that one I'm certain will move forward quickly. Again, that person, there's a lot of audit work, obviously, with payroll. They also did a lot of work on CDBG. I've removed that. The grants compliance officer will be doing all that work on CDBG. We also hired somebody to oversee the grants office, so that removes a lot from our payroll supervisor and our senior accountants. We're also working closely with Board of Ed now. Like last Friday, I went over there, sat with them, and that's the only way we were able to get some final numbers from them. I'll continue to do that for this audit and the 23 audit, and if necessary, audits going forward. I want to get to a point where we don't have to do that, but there was some staff turnover there also, and there's also seems to be a learning curve. Don't understand why, because their director of finance has many years of experience on the school side and the town side. So, but I think it's just sitting down and either sending somebody to GFOA classes on their side. I know they have problems with their assistant. I forget the title, if they call them business manager or, but you know, they have somebody new over there. Seems to be pretty good, but I think some classes could help him.
Are they cooperating with you at least? I mean, I know, you know, sometimes audit, it doesn't really mean anything to them because, you know, it's really comes under you. You're the one whose name is going to appear on the report. But are they working with you?
They are. There's a few more things that they need to do. At the August meeting, we asked for access to their system. So, you know, read-only access. I'm not going to go in and do entries for them, but at least I can run some reports, see where they are at any given point in time. And it certainly would have helped for this. I could run reports. When I was over there the other day, they didn't even realize that they could export to a CSV file. So they can export to Excel, but it's in a format that, you know, you really can't sort and do pivot tables or anything like that. So we found that, and that's going to be a big help going forward also.
Okay, that's good. So they gave you access.
I haven't had access yet. I reminded them when I was over there last week. It was supposed to be Monday morning. We'll get right on it. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but again, I'll be calling them again right after this call. But at least we have numbers we can get into our system. Everything reconciles other than this 2.4 million that they returned to us last year, and they record it as an expense. So like, no, it's not an expense. It's not a revenue. Take that off and we balance. So.
Okay, well, that's progress. So do you have, are you willing to venture a guess as to when your 22 audit is?
I thought we could have it done by January 15th. We're meeting at least weekly with the auditors. We have a meeting twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. We're just continuing with Mondays for now so that we can focus on the work that needs to be done. And so I asked, I said, is January 15th realistic? And they said, probably not. So I'm hoping January 30th if we can get Board of Ed trial balances to them today.
And who was your auditor?
RSM.
Okay. So if you can get 22 done, say in the spring, what kind of shape are you in to move forward and quickly on 23, which by then will be several months late?
Yes. So 23, our original plan was, begin in January, finish by March. Obviously, that isn't going to happen. And with budget, a lot of it depends on, our hiring. If I can get an assistant director of finance in here that knows municipalities, that will certainly help. So they can focus on that. I'll stay focused on the budget. If I'm doing both still, I hate to say June, but I think realistically it might be that late.
Have you considered bringing in just somebody on a temporary basis as like a consultant or, to assist?
Yes, we've reached out to a few auditing firms to see if they had anybody. Obviously, the ones that know municipalities are tied up with other audits right now. We did talk with, just to blank on their name, PKF. They said, sure, we could help you out with that, but not until January. So we, in August, the council did approve an appropriation of $100,000 to get that help.
Sometimes you can find retired finance directors willing to do, consulting work on a per diem or contract basis.
We reached out to a couple of temp agencies in town. We had something promising, and it's just like hiring. He got sucked up last night. He's no longer available. Had a few of those. We did get one temp in. Unfortunately, she's only part-time, so we're continuing to discuss the best way to do that. And I'm constantly in contact with the temp agencies on a weekly basis, see if they have anything coming up. But I think advertising something on GFOA or CCM for, like you said, a retired director.
All right. Mike, do you have any?
Yeah, just a couple questions. And similar to maybe some of the discussion with Branford, is there an opportunity where you can, maybe look to gain some efficiencies by doing both the 2022 and the 2023 audit at the same time?
I've instructed our staff to do just that. As far as creating a schedule for 22, you finish that, rinse, repeat, do it for 23, so we're ready to roll when the auditors come in for 23. But the auditors obviously won't start on the actual work until we finish 22.
Okay, and have you gotten any inquiries from the bond rating houses in regards to the status of your audits?
We did on the 21. We sat down with S&P back in June. We went out for a note in July. We'll be doing something similar in January because it was only a 6-month note. So we're either going to have to a bond portion of that because we have several large projects going on. We certainly have to take a note out in January. So we'll be having those discussions again.
Okay, and lastly, without the benefit of the audit to indicate the financial status or position of the city, you mentioned about $2.4 million coming back from the Board of Education, which I assume would roll into your fund balance on the general fund side. I mean, overall, is the general fund in a fund balance in a good reserve position from audited financials?
Yes. So fund balance for 22, unless we have some AJE that I'm not expecting, will be about break even for what we were projecting. We did appropriate some fund balance for capital and some other items in 22. Capital should be the only one that we touch. The other appropriations from fund balance will not be needed, or very small piece of what we appropriated will be used. But we should close with somewhere around a 9% fund balance, which is where we've been hanging between 9 and 10%. 23 is actually much better because of interest rates helped us tremendously. So I think 23 we're in much better shape.
Okay, thank you.
Tony?
I just have one question about the, you touched a little bit about the Board of Education and some of their problems with their balances. I was reading some of this summary here, and it says that the income statements and the balance sheets didn't balance, and they didn't have support in accounts payable or encumbrances or some of these other issues. Have those been resolved? It seems like that probably held you up in your previous audit.
I need to dig a little bit deeper on this final report to see if their schedule's now tied to AP and encumbrances. That's one big thing that they really struggle with, knowing the difference and how to record those. So that is the first thing that we are going to sit down and discuss. I don't want to say educate them, but that's really what it comes down to.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
If they've been having these difficulties, where do they stand on their state reporting? Are they able to get those done?
That's the bizarre thing. They were able to get their EFS in. I know they're for 21, they had to go back and restate some of those because they had a large AJE on their AP for general and grants.
Okay. Glenn, do you have any questions?
No, but I guess I think Tony touched on the bonding side of things. You said you've got notes rolling, and I know with other towns, the rating agencies have been actually kind of starting to focus in on audits not being done. So I was curious that you said you've got notes rolling. You're a few audit cycles behind. Have any of the rating agencies contacted you, saber rattled a little with downgrades and whatnot, and then what you would be doing with that?
They have not since June. June it was a very serious concern. It still is a very serious concern on our part, but you could tell that that's where they were in I believe May and June, possibly April of this year. But we haven't heard any more. We continue to work with Phoenix, who's our fiscal advisor, and they've been communicating with S&P and Moody's, and actually I don't know if they've been communicating with Moody's, but my mind just went blank on the other name. But Fitch, yes, sorry. Yeah, so it's we'll be giving them estimated for 22 and 23 in the next few weeks here. So and when they've seen that, they're like, oh well, you're in good financial shape, you're just behind. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what the issue is. So that has surprisingly appeased them. So.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want you to be stuck in note limbo out there and constantly keep rolling. I've got no other questions.
Okay, Becky?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Diane?
I have no questions.
Kim?
I just wanted the committee to be aware that we were not able to meet. The Office of Policy Management was not able to meet with Danbury prior to this meeting today. We didn't get any feedback. So also, is the auditor on the call today to make any kind of confirmation whether he feels that it is realistic based on the status of the deliverables right now to make a January timeframe?
I did not see him on.
Who's your partner or your manager?
Scott Bassett.
Pardon?
Scott Bassett.
Yeah, I don't see Scott on.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's important when you're invited to these meetings that they also attend as well so that we can hear from both sides and validate what the city is saying, as well as get confirmation from the audit firm that they agree with the status of your audits. Dan, you mentioned one thing, which is bond ratings and that worry and that being a serious concern. For you to attend today, yearly audits is a serious concern to the MFAC as well as the state of Connecticut. So new mayor, Roberto Alves, I want you to be aware that you really need to take this seriously and make sure that the city gets the resources that it needs financially to get caught up. The best thing you could do right now is to put the resources there and get caught up and eliminate this track record. So that's my pitch to you, and I hope that you will take this seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Without the audits, there's so much you don't know. You don't know what errors might be happening. You don't know if everything has been done properly, the things that they could uncover. It's really important to get it done. And, you know, it's one of those things that's also taking a toll on your staff as you get further and further behind. They've got to catch up and they're not being able to attend to their normal stuff. And you're probably knee deep in budgets already. And I'm sure that's, it's a burden. So we hope you can get this resolved quickly and get back on track. All right.
And Mayor, Kate, just one more thing, Mayor, I would certainly recommend opening up a dialogue with the superintendent of schools so that everybody's on the same page as far as the issues at hand and the delays in you know, the city being able to get its audits completed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important that you communicate with them. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Next up is East Lyme. Do we have people from East Lyme with us today?
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
How's it going? My name's Kevin Jerome, I'm the finance director. I have Dan Cunningham, our new first selectman as of last Monday. Am I able to share my screen?
I don't know. I don't control these things. Kim?
Yes,
let me
yes,
just-
you should be
okay.
able to.
Perfect. I just want to, I put together a little PowerPoint here. I'll try to keep my presentation brief.
And congratulations on your wedding.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Yep. Honeymoon, the wedding went well. Everything went good. Does everyone see my, the PowerPoint here, PDF?
We do.
All right. So I just wanted to give a brief history of where East Lyme's come from and where we're going to move forward. So the last dozen years, the last financial statement we filed on time, it appears to me, based on the OPM dates, was 2013. And I really hope we can turn that around here. So getting into the 21 audit, I was hired the end of August last year, and the prior finance director retired the first week of September. And there wasn't a lot to do on the audit. It was a lot of follow-up questions, and just as it worked its way through technical review, just answering any questions and whatever CLA's technical review team had open items. Getting into 21, I'm sorry, fiscal year 22, this part is what we've done so far, and this is the projected timeline to get the audit to completion. The MFAC, this is just that PDF I sent over, snipped into various sections here. So to date, CLA, Dave Hansen, the manager there, and Nicoletta, we've established weekly meetings. So we're meeting to go over status updates on open items. That really started the last 2 weeks, and we're going forward. We have a meeting, I believe, this Thursday, tomorrow, with Dave Hansen to go over open items. So our goal is to, have this wrapped up here by the end of February. and I really hope to adhere to these deadlines and timelines here to get the audit from its current fieldwork status all the way to technical review and then published on the EARS website. Um, just real quickly, a big problem here in East Lyme that I quickly uncovered was staffing issues. So when I took off, when I came here, there was the finance director who was also the purchasing agent and also kind of the backup HR director in certain times. And then she had 3 clerks reporting to her: an AP clerk, a payroll clerk, and an accounts receivable clerk. And for 8 hours a month, they had a part-time accountant to help reconcile the taxes and some of the larger bank recs. So Ron Nozick, in his 2021 presentation to the Board of Finance, made recommendations to hire at least 2, if not 3, new employees or temporary employees to bring us up to speed and assist in getting some work turned out of the finance office here. So in the budget, we were able to hire a deputy finance director / purchasing agent. So we hired them May 2023. That person was here until August, when another town that shall remain nameless poached that employee, and then that person left me, and I was back to square one. So I did the same thing in Norwich. Hopefully they're not on the call. So about a month ago, Norwich's accountant became my deputy finance director. So so we have another deputy finance director starting. That part-time senior accountant is set to retire, but she's still training the deputy finance director on some of the jobs she does. And in this budget cycle, I'm hoping I could, maybe keep that position and add maybe 8 to 16 hours to that position to bolster the finance office and help with reconciliation, so we're not getting all the reconciliations done at year end or quarter end. Let's try to reconcile monthly. We reconcile the banks monthly, but the balance sheets and everything, all those other accounts, we could do a better job of reconciling. And then we hired an external accountant. It is actually a finance director in another town. So she comes over here usually on Fridays to assist in reconciliations and audit preparation. So the last month she's been working on her audit, so she hasn't really had a lot of time to spend over here. But I believe her audit is filed this week, so we should have her the remainder of this month and then moving forward. So the finance office is staffed. I have it 5.25, so I have that senior accountant as the 2.5 with that external accountant that's here a day a week and works remotely as well. So we've added 1 full-time position. I'm hoping in this budget cycle we can add another half-time position, as well as that as needed per diem accountant. So about 2.5 positions we've added, 2 positions we've added, and I'm hoping to add another, that part-time senior accountant role to expand that job. Getting into the so that was 22 audit, the 23 audit. You can see my expected completion date would be, February 28th. The next day, I'd like to dive right into 2023. Now, the one nice thing about having the external accountant here, as we are reconciling fiscal year 22, we're requesting all the same information for fiscal year 23. So as she's reconciling and doing, reconciliation of the tax collector, we're doing that in 22. We're doing the same thing in 23. We're just turning it right over. So when 22 is done, the idea is 23, we have it almost, all reconciled on our end, and we can just hand all this information to the auditor and go from there. So, and then once we're done with expected completion date somewhere mid-August for fiscal year 23. So that's about a 5.5 month turnaround. Getting right into fiscal year 24. Now, I will say, I know the task was to get it done, so 2024 was filed on time. I recognize auditors, this is their busiest time of year, and we have not really earned the spot in the CLA's books to get this timing here, to get them in here in their height of their busy season. So that would probably, I imagine that 12/31/24 deadline is very lofty, is how I would put it. I imagine, that would probably, that's a 4-month turnaround. So, but I had to comply to the assignment there of getting us turned around. So I just want to say that may be a month or two of an extension there. But that's, I had to put that in writing. So, and then just other things I just want to touch upon. I heard Jim Finch talk about implementing a new accounting software. We're currently implementing Munis. We've been implementing Munis here in town since 2018, but I've really started kicking that off since I came on board, just because I came from a town that had Munis. I came from Brookfield before, and we used to call it Mucus because we didn't think it was that great of an accounting software, and you don't know what you have till it's gone. So whoever, if you have Munis, embrace it. It's a very great system. So we're going live with everything except payroll July of 2024. We go live with payroll January 2025, and then we bring along utility billing in the utility section side July of 2025. So this is going to be a 2-year implementation period. So myself and the deputy finance director are meeting weekly with the implementation team in Munis to try to move the ball forward here and implement a new accounting software. Similarly, we just implemented earlier this year, we implemented a time and attendance system, Nova Time. Before that, all time was on carbon copy timesheets, which I didn't even realize were still in existence. So we've implemented a new electronic system that imports directly into our accounting system, as well as imports into Munis in the future. And then besides being, kind of coming into a department that was understaffed, we've had several staff turnovers. The deputy finance director, like I said, 3 months into the position, took a new job elsewhere. The payroll clerk of 16 years retired, and was also out on workers' comp for about half the year without a real backup in that position. We have a vacancy in the HR director position, which I am filling in my spare time. And then we have a new first selectman. So besides that, I'm here to answer any questions and try to turn out as much work as we can.
Okay. So it sounds like you have quite the plan. I guess I'm just curious, what caused the backups in the first place? And
So
have those issues been resolved? Is it Board of Ed issues? Is it just the pure lack of staffing, or?
So when I first came in, I had a week of overlap with the prior finance director, and in that week, it was a little chaotic. She was doing a lot of different tasks, and she didn't really have a lot of support. She has 3 clerks, but everything else that's related to any journal entries, those are all on the finance director, all reconciliations, everything fell on this one person. And I think the world kind of stacked up, and everything just kind of just backed up. I think there's a great bottleneck. And so I'm trying to untangle that bottleneck and try to get some work, churned out of here.
Okay. And at the same time, implementing a new software.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, and I've used Munis. I first installed it probably like 40 years ago. Just be thoughtful in setting it up. Make sure you think everything through with them in terms of your chart of accounts and your reporting structure and all that, because it really is a good tool when you set it up properly.
And so we are switching to UCOA. So currently we do not have the uniform chart of accounts in the state of Connecticut. So one of the big tasks for the deputy finance director right now is to do the crosswalk between our current accounts and what the uniform chart of accounts says.
Okay. I'm going to switch up the order a little bit. Diane, do you have any questions?
I do not. It looks like he has a good plan in place, and good luck, and I hope you're able to achieve it as best you can.
Mike?
Kevin, can you just speak briefly on, excuse me a sec, on the status of the June 2023 books being closed out and rolling over into 2024?
So we've closed out all purchase orders and done a rough close of that, of that magnitude, but a full on, year-end close we really haven't done. I was focusing, I had to close out the accounting system. We had multiple years open just to get 24 open. So really my priority was getting 22 done. I was here most of 2023. So, all the reconciliation, all the bank recs are done. All of that is all pushed forward. So we're in good shape as far as the routine reconciliations in those, bank recs, those are all done monthly. So as far as the hard close, we haven't done a hard close of 2023. That's our next step once we get 2022 done. Does that kind of answer your question, Mike?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I just was looking to get a sense of, how well prepared you'll be to really roll into that 23 audit as soon as the 22 audit is done.
Yeah, I think we're in. So like I said, the deputy finance director, myself, and the external accountant we have, when we are doing a task for the 22 audit, that same time when we send the request list to the water and sewer department for their utility, AR or something like that, we're asking them to send us the 6/30/22 as well as 6/30/23. So they're sending us 2 documents at the same time. And so we're not really focusing on the 23 one, but we have all that data and all the request lists sitting right there, ready to go. So when we're done with 22, we hop right into 23.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Let's pop back onto your timeline on the 2022. I see Nicolette is on here. Are they realistic at the end of February that they can get this done?
I mean, if everything goes as planned, those times are realistic, barring any items that do not go as planned. I think this plan is workable.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Tony, do you have questions?
No, actually, my questions were around staffing, and you answered. I appreciate your proactive approach to that. So good luck, and we appreciate your thoughtful timeline here.
Thank you.
Glenn?
No questions.
Becky?
All my questions have been asked already. Thank you.
Sorry. That's why I was trying to, move people around a little bit. Kim?
I am all set. Thank you.
Okay. Kevin, if you could stop sharing your screen, that would be awesome.
I think you guys are you guys still there? You broke up for a second.
Yeah, I need you to stop sharing your screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, we hope you get things moving along and get that 22 audit completed so that you can get into 23 and get closer to being on time and start getting there. And wish you and your new first selectman the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Another new elected official. We have Derby next up on our agenda, and I understand we have a new mayor.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Just like to introduce myself. My name is Joe DiMartino, newly elected mayor of Derby. Thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it. I guess, do you want me to just say what I need to say first, and then we can go from there?
Well, just curious, how have you been brought up to speed on everything that has transpired? And
for the 7 days I have, I mean, I've taken a lot of information in. There's still a lot I need to take in, I'm sure. But I've been here every day working hard, trying to catch up on the things that are happening with the city. I know that, being here 7 days doesn't give me a lot of time so far. And I know that hopefully I can answer any questions you do have today. But, part of my campaign was to bring transparency and the financial accountability back to the city of Derby. And that's what I plan on doing and working hard at it. the past week I've had the pleasure, and I wanted to thank Bill Plummer and Kim Kennison for helping me out. They've met with me numerous times this week, and it's just been a huge help to me, and I can't thank them enough. So thank you both for helping me with that.
You're welcome,
Well,
Mayor, and thank you for being receptive and open to some professional input.
I am so open to anything all of you have to say. I really am. So I need you guys to help me and to help Derby get back on track. So the first week, I reached out to the Robert Half Agency. We haven't had a finance director in over 3 years, and they brought forth 2 candidates for me. We interviewed them. We really liked one quite a bit. So we are bringing that person forward to the Board of Aldermen, Alderwomen meeting tomorrow. And I have full confidence that that person will be starting on Monday in City Hall. So that's kind of a big step that we took to at least get the ball rolling in the finance department.
Is that as a temp or as a permanent?
It would be interim right now. And then if they worked out and we liked them, the possibility to be permanent.
Okay.
The other thing is we had a meeting with our financial city software, QDS and Zobrio. Kim was on that meeting with us. She was great. She asked a lot of good questions, and I was very thankful for that. We had an issue with not being able to get credit card payments for residents to use their credit card for taxes. What we did was we brought them in. They went downstairs. It was a monitor issue. The monitor was too small. So they brought in a bigger monitor. They're able to see the whole screen now. And now residents are able to use their credit cards to pay their taxes, which they haven't been able to do for the last 6 months. So another good thing I thought we did. I've been in contact with the superintendent, the Board of Education and business manager, and the city auditor to try to get myself up to speed. So we made connections with all of them. I'm trying to do the best I can in the first 7 days. We're looking for your guidance. We're looking, for you to help us in any way you can. I am open to any help that you can give us. And I think the first 2 things we accomplished this week were pretty big, and I hope to continue on that track.
Okay. Have you started your budget process?
I do have my deputy finance director here. I don't believe we have started it yet. I believe it's due February.
Yes.
February.
We will have, by the end of the month, we will have sent out the requests or budget forms, the departments for review. They usually have come in the last week of December. So they're all getting ready to give it to us, but we just haven't formally taken them in yet.
How are you looking with the current year? I saw that there was a comment about the property tax revenues for 22-23 in the motor vehicles collection. What's it looking like for 23-24? Did you address that issue?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
That you would budget for full collection of motor vehicle taxes, but the mill rate cap in 22-23, you were over the mill rate cap?
Yes, that was a budget mistake from the prior year. That was addressed for the 22-23. We're quite aware of it this year as well.
Okay. All right.
You know what that is? That's the cap for the motor vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, the mill rate cap on that. Okay. Diane, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Becky? Okay. Not hearing Becky.
Becky she just got back in the meeting.
Oh,
sorry, I dropped there for a moment. I
was just asking if you had any questions for Derby, but
no, thank you.
Mike.
Nancy, can you just provide us a general update on what has progressed since the last time we met? How things are going?
Not a lot has changed yet, but since the new administration has been in here, they're taking a very aggressive approach to addressing the different issues. Most of the findings of the audit have been addressed and have been up to date. There's maybe 2 or 3 that are going to roll into the next year. As far as everything else, I mean, we're on target for everything, but the big thing is filling those positions with bodies. I mean, I need a WPCA coordinator. We need a tax collector. The big thing is getting somebody into my office. I really need bodies.
Yep. What are the audit findings that are outstanding?
One is one of the library grants is not on our fund yet.
Okay.
The Board of Ed is still working. They've separated their payables out. They're still working on setting up a few more little aspects in their accounting side. But overall, they're in good shape.
Okay. All right. Sorry to interrupt, Mike.
No, not a problem at all.
You good?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Tony?
Are you on track to complete the 23 audit by December?
I'd like to say yes, but no. We've already filed for an extension in January.
Do you think you'll get it done within the 6-month extension period?
I believe we'll be done by the end of January.
Oh, okay.
If nothing major comes up, we should be. I'll have a new finance director in here with me. Anything comes up, I have 2 heads to work with it, so I should have no problem getting it done. Watch, now it won't happen.
Right. I guess you never know, but thank you.
Thanks.
Glenn?
I have no questions, but I also need the record to show that Derby is a client.
Thanks. Kim?
Yes, just one thing to bring to the board's attention is that we did get some preliminary reports, and there is a number of entries for year end that still need a lot of attention. So Nancy is aware of it, and so she is going to be working with the audit firm, and I believe also the Board of Ed side to be able to close down some of the year-end entries. And then there was another issue that was in my mind and went right back out, so I guess it's not important. But
well, I mean, go ahead.
I am thankful that the new administration is open and transparent and up for the challenge, and as well as being aware of those challenges that are out there that still considered to push forward and take this challenge on. So we're all not experts in everything, but I do think that his leadership in getting the people to the table of the areas that he's not aware of, he is at least championing that. So that was great to see.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah. And, I will say, the previous administration, sometimes we struggled with being able to, I think, impress upon them the importance. So it seems like you're starting out right with knowing that you've got to get the place staffed up. You need professionals. You need people who understand government accounting. You need good communication with your Board of Ed. So I hope that hope you stick with it.
No, you certainly will. Thank you.
Okay.
One more comment, Kate, if you don't mind. I just want to make you aware that with the new system, after the meeting yesterday, we did learn that there is some work to be done on the reporting side. And so they really have canned reporting, and they're not able to provide some good, meaningful reports. But that is on their plate to continue to move forward. And I think that their software company will be able to help them do that.
Okay. Very good. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time today. Thank you so much.
Do we have anybody from Hamden here?
I thought I saw the mayor. Yes.
Up there they are. Okay. I would ask again that if you're not on the commission or not the community currently being discussed, if you would turn off your cameras. So, Madam Mayor, how are things going?
Good morning. We're doing great. We have been incredibly busy and look forward to sharing some of our current work with you. And just before we get started, I wanted to congratulate the new first selectmen and mayors that are taking over towns. I know what a struggle it can be. Good luck to them all.
You know what it feels like to have to jump in with us, you know, when you're just new to the office, right?
I do, yes.
Congratulations is in order though for
yes.
yourself.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So can you give us a quick update?
Yeah, of course, yes. So we are working through ARPA, and we have a consultant on board now to help us. We are very interested in making sure that our compliance is exactly what it needs to be. So the Legislative Council has produced for us a budget for ARPA, and it's quite packed. I think a little bit more packed than we would like for it to be, but we are working through all of the budgeted allotments and contracting with different entities and making sure that compliance is foremost in our mind. We are on track to have our audit completed by the end of the month. Everything is looking very good. And our audit this year includes a CFR. And so we're really excited about the 10-year look back that will provide for us and show some of the progress that we've made. And we also are, for the first time, the CAFRs, the first time
Excuse me, and not wishing to offend you, but you shouldn't, we prefer not to call it that anymore.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
It sounds very similar to an offensive term in some other countries. So the GFOA has very pushed, referred to it as your audit report, but we don't use that acronym anymore.
Okay, so what do we call it now?
You know, for today, just call it your audit.
Okay, got it. So we are doing a 10-year look back alongside our audit that has never been done before in Hamden. And we are hoping that this will show the progress that we've made over the last couple of years. And we are also, we've sent our budget, our fiscal year 24 budget to GFOA, hoping to earn a GFOA award.
That's quite an undertaking. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that it's the first time that Hamden has ever submitted to GFOA.
I'm a reviewer for the budget award, so I know what that is. It really is a tremendous undertaking.
Thank you.
Okay. Diane, do you have any?
I'm sorry.
Yes,
I also wanted to mention that in last year's audit, one of our findings was a lot of problems with our CDBG grant.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we that was included in our audit really was because I had asked our auditors to investigate, knowing that we had significant problems with our CDBG. And so we have been working alongside HUD because they also had several red flags on CDBG. And so we, in our submission, we included the letter from HUD that we are no longer under their auditing. So we've graduated out of that.
Yeah, I see that. That really is excellent to be able to report. All right, Diane, do you have any questions?
So the only question that I do have is with regard to the ARPA. It looks like a lot of that allocation was just recently approved. Are you confident that you'll meet the deadlines of the 2024, December 31st, 2024 obligation and then the 2026 expenditure deadline?
So that is definitely looming in the back of our minds, and we are impressing this upon the Legislative Council. So we have internally chosen a date a few months out wherein if we believe that we are not making enough progress on any of these budgeted allotments, that we will switch course and use it to, you know, purchase equipment for the town or put it into some affordable housing. There are a couple of different plan Bs that we have if we are not making progress on these goals.
And maybe I missed it. What is the timeline for you to look at Plan B?
Probably around March or April. So if we feel that we can get under contract with many of the public service agencies that are on within our budget, if we're able to get under contract or we're very close by this spring, we will continue course. If we feel that we are not able to set up these different budgeted allotments with goals and go under contract, then we will switch course.
Thank you. One more question on that. You said that you hired a consultant to assist you with all of this. Will they
Yeah.
help putting these contracts in place?
Yes, they're very helpful. So we're working with UHY, and for example, right now we are trying to go under contract with United Way. We have an allotment for the but we're going under contract with United Way, and so we have a contract that we're working through, and UHY is they've come up with some issues, and we're resolving the contract issues through UHY and United Way.
Great, thank you. I am sure we work with them as well. They will keep you on track for sure. That's all I have, Kate. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mike?
Just following up on the ARPA discussion, a big piece of it is the 10 million that's allocated for the community campus. What's the timeline for final design specifications so you can get that project out to bid?
That is also, I would say, March.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that piece, what we're working on right now, there are two buildings on the lot that we have in mind. One needs to be demolished, and we're just going to demolish that one. We have CIF money that we're using to demolish. There's another building there that only needs renovation, and because renovation can go much faster than building from the ground up, we are cautiously optimistic that we can meet the deadlines.
Okay. All right, very good.
Tony?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Glenn?
My only question, and it's probably a quick answer, I'm thinking, is that in the past, when we were talking about, current budgets and such, the town had done some refundings that were basically based for structural refundings, as well as there were property sales. I think those all had completed successfully. The question really is, on a go-forward basis in the budget coming up, are there any, I guess what I think of as one-time items such as those planned going forward or not?
We are finished with our refundings, and we don't have any more planned sale properties. Aside from one, we are in negotiations with the state for them to take a property that's owned by the town, but it's there's nothing on it. It's a few empty acres, and we would put that into a fund for our animal shelter. Nothing budgeted. And the sale of town property that you're referencing was used for, it was put into a capital non-recurring fund, so it was not used for balancing our budget, but we are finished with refundings, and the budget that we are starting to develop for fiscal year 25 will not include those one-time revenues.
Oh, thank you. And I was just going to comment on a positive. I think a while back you had said that 26 was the year for stability and such, and it sounds like you're ahead of schedule. So I just wanted to note that.
Thank you.
Becky,
I have no further questions, Kate.
Kim?
I have none.
Okay. Mayor, I just have to say, I really appreciate the work you've done in Hampton. I think you've done a terrific job, and I'm glad to see it's continuing. It is 11:27, and I'm going to ask to take an item out of order if there are no objections, because I do have to leave. I would like to move under 9 other business, discussion and approval of a new chair. As this is my last meeting, I have resigned, or effective the end of this year. So I'm also I know the chair typically doesn't make motions, but just going to ask to be allowed to. I would like the board to consider Mike LeBlanc as the new chair. I've known Mike for quite a long time, going back to when he was my auditor in West Haven.
Do remember.
And I think the committee would be well served with Mike as the chair. So I would like to make the motion to elect Mike LeBlanc as the chair of the MFAC.
So moved.
Second.
Kim Kennison. Oh, I'll take
Okay.
the second if you're taking the
Okay.
motion.
I'm making the motion. Any other nominations or any discussion?
I just want to say that Mike was an auditor when I was in West Haven. So I enthusiastically support your motion.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? No abstentions? Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you, Kate.
And you get to run the rest of the meeting because I have to head out to go serve our seniors. And I want to thank you all. I want to thank Kim and Bill. It's been a pleasure to work with you. I was telling my new first selectman that I've been on this commission going back to Jody Rell as the governor. So it's been a long time. I think we do good work here, and I think you will all continue to do good work. So happy holidays. And Mike, turn it over to you.
All right, Kate, before you go, just certainly on my behalf and for the commission, definitely wanted to thank you for your many years serving and leading the MFAC. I think it's a testament, when people are willing to volunteer their precious time, and you certainly have done that, and willing to share your expertise and guidance with the municipalities that have been in need of it before MFAC over all these years. So overall, it's just a great testament and credit to who you are, Kate. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Kate. Echo all of that.
Thank you so much, Kate, for everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We will be in touch. I just want to
Yep.
put, we will be in touch with the committee because we think that it would be nice to have a farewell luncheon and then reach out to each one of the members who are interested. So OPM will be following up with that for the beginning of the new year.
Okay. All right. Thank you
Thank
all.
Kate.
Right.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays, Kate.
And thank you, Mike, for agreeing.
No problem. It's I've been on this commission now for a few years. It's a great working group, and I do look forward to working going forward with all of you to continue to serve really the mission of helping out the municipalities that are in need. It's certainly we've gone through a period of interesting times, particularly with the impacts on the audit staffing and staffing in the municipalities. So, going forward, hopefully it continues to get better. But I think one of the most telling points, with what I've seen with this commission is, certainly how good it feels when we see the success and a city or town moves on from the commission, and hopefully in most of those cases, never to come back. So.
Agree.
Okay. So I didn't realize that I was going to be slotted in so quickly, but Kim, from the agenda standpoint, are we looking to have a discussion with the town of Plymouth?
We are.
For the record, Plymouth is a client of ours.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, congratulations. If congratulations are in order.
Thank you. And
certainly a thanks to the former chair for all of her work. It's been a pleasure to work with her over the last 2 years. I know the folks on the commission volunteer their time to do this, and it is appreciated to those communities that are helped by this board. So thanks to all of you, and special thanks to the former chair.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and it's good to have you back with us today. Why don't we start with just a general update and overview?
Yes, so general update, the 23 audit is nearing completion. We still are holding out hope to be done on time, but I'm hearing that at the very latest, very early in January. They came out and did the field work very early. I think the only reason we might be a little bit delayed is there was an issue with the pension calculation. Our finance director can go into a little more specifics on that delayed a little bit. And then, of course, busy season with CLA. So sometimes they don't get to you exactly when would be needed for our town. So we are hearing good things. We should be, either on time or very shortly thereafter, which I think is significant progress we've made over the last 2 years. Our fund balance looks good. We're at, I believe the last time I checked, around 13%. We've hitting all our revenue targets for tax collection. In fact, this past year we saw an increase, which was fantastic, especially with delinquent taxes. And we ran another surplus this year, which is 2 in a row, at least for my administration. So I think we're hitting the benchmarks we need. We still need an on-time audit, which would be great, and I'm pushing as hard as I can for it. But I think a lot of our other issues have hopefully been put in the rearview mirror, never to be seen again. We are still looking for another staff accountant to get our staff up to 4. We just haven't found the right person yet. As I think many of you know, it's very difficult to find people right now, and that's on the top of our priority list to get another staff accountant in here. To get us up to 4 full-time, which I think would be a really great number. It's been in our budget. Like I said, we just haven't found the right person yet. So that's also on our priority list.
Great. Just before we turn it over for questions and comments, an update on your ARPA reporting and use of funds?
Yes, so we received 3.4 and some change for ARPA. We're down to a little over 100,000. Not all of it has been spent yet, but most of it has been allocated, except for that 120,000. And our reporting has been on time, and I think we've really been diligent about making sure we've had public participation. We had an ARPA task force, an ad hoc committee put together, and they would make recommendations to the council. But I also had our Board of Finance weigh in. So we kind of had a 3-step process of all of our allocations to make sure that there was public input when they needed to, but at least, we were very diligent in making sure that we were as transparent as possible with the allocation of those funds.
Okay, very good. And I'm sorry, one last thing.
Of course.
How are things projected to proceed with your new year budget development process?
So our budget process in our town charter is, in my opinion, would be great to be changed, because by charter, our department heads don't have to have their budget requests in until the end of January. And my budget needs to be submitted, I believe, to February 22nd to the Board of Finance. So that gives us, 3 weeks to go to turn that over, which I think is unnecessarily short. So we do ask our department heads to get their budgets in as soon as possible. Our budget templates actually went out, Grace, either earlier this week or late last week, so they're already out.
End of last week.
Yes, so we've asked the department heads to cooperate and get those back to us by the middle of January, if at all possible. But again, we may have some stragglers, but most of them I anticipate cooperation there, so that we can kind of get a head start and make sure that our budget process runs as smoothly as possible.
Okay, all right, very good.
I just want to add to reiterate what the mayor had said. We are in really good shape with the audit. The auditor and I are speaking at least once a week. He has promised me that he's like working really hard to get it out by December 31st, but at the very latest, the first week in January. So, I mean, that's kind of on time. I consider it on time. I hope you do. But, yeah, no, the pension issue has been resolved. There was a problem with the pension report, and that has been corrected. So we've resolved the pension issue. I've met with the Board of Ed. I met with the Board of Ed a couple of weeks ago, and I have stressed to them that we have to do better. The current issue is that the grants fund, they are working, and hopefully today they will have it reconciled to our accounts. So, yeah, so that's where we are. But again, with the new staff person that we haven't been able to find, the plan is to reconcile with the Board of Ed quarterly. So we will not have those issues in the future.
Okay, all right, all very good news. Okay, opening up, Diane.
I have no further questions, Mike.
Okay, Glenn.
My only question was going to be, I noted in your what you submitted that the bank reconciliations are coming along. I was going to ask you what the status of where those were at now.
We're currently working on November's bank reconciliations. We're completely reconciled through October of 23.
Okay, thank you.
So we're completely caught up with that.
Okay, very good. Tony?
Glenn just took my question, so I have no questions.
Kim?
One question piggybacking off of that same topic, which is, are you anticipating any audit findings, as that was an area of attention in the FY22, and hopefully the auditor would recognize the progress in 23 with the reconciliations? Have you heard anything yet?
They haven't said anything to us about audit findings. I mean, I think the only thing is, as I mentioned to you, is we have to do better with reconciling with the Board of Ed. And, next year we will definitely, whether or not I have another person here, we will be reconciled with the Board of Ed.
Right, and I think as far as the audit findings for this go, I believe we had finally fully caught up by the end of spring. So by the end of the fiscal year, we had monthly reconciliations. So depending on how the auditors view that, I think it could theoretically still be there, but the update is that we've been reconciled monthly since the end of spring. So I think we've made great progress there.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Hopefully that would be noted if they decide to continue it. Mm-hmm.
Well, certainly very good news on all fronts, and we're looking forward to seeing your filed audit report for 2023 to take a look at before the next time we meet.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, and it looks like next under other business, Kim, are there items there we want to cover?
There were a couple of items. One, I'm going to change the order if you don't mind so that we make sure that we bring attention to this board is the calendar, as that would need a vote traditionally.
I will move the calendar for 2024.
A second.
Okay, any discussion on the dates? All look good? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay. All right, the calendar for year 2024 has been adopted.
Thank you, Mike. On to the other business of OPM analysis and the tier eligibility. We've discussed this with the committee previously, and with the new legislation, Bill Plummer has been working really hard on creating some guidance on the tier 1 eligibility, as well as starting to look at the plan going forward for the MFAC and to provide some guidance for the commissioners and that can be used. Bill is in the final stages. We have actually reviewed this just this week, and I would say, Bill, I think that we would be able to get this out to the commissioners by the end of this year or before the holidays. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we did a lot of work, and it's just a couple other items we need to finalize. Yes. So we can get that to, I believe, before the end of the year for sure.
And then we can seek feedback, and if folks, our goal would then maybe be to be able to get that put into the February meeting as one of our items of business and possible approval of having some procedures around the eligibility. All right. The other item of business that we did want to bring to your attention is that Bill also has been working very closely with our consultants, and we've created a checkoff list for audit readiness, and that was shared with this commission as well. We have we're going to seek feedback from another party, which is actually, I'll just be honest, it's the financial manager down in the city of West Haven. Is maybe this is a tool that they could use for audit readiness when towns are not audit ready, and get some feedback from them as well, since they are familiar also with audits and getting towns up to date. So after we meet with them, we would incorporate any of those changes that we might have, share it with the commission, and hopefully have something ready to go out to those towns that could use this as a tool for assistance and a guide. Bill, anything else that I'm missing on that?
Oh, no, I think, yeah, we just got to have the that party that you would like to look at it. And I think we wanted to put in more in regards to the Board of Education, their process, what they need to do.
Yeah, I understand. And then I just have one other question for the commission, and I could actually, we could meet with you if you would prefer, Mike, and get your feedback for those towns that have come forward today and that we have upcoming meetings for us to take a look at them to make sure that we stay on target with the progress that they're making, and decide that we should maybe get ongoing updates and or decide based on before the meeting comes whether they need to be invited again to keep them on target and hear their progress or challenges.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So and before the next time we meet, we certainly can have that discussion and determine how it might work best to proceed, on that front.
That sounds good. Just so you are aware, and I think we made this an awareness before we close today out, that there are many challenges out there for municipalities, and Bill had did some tracking on some of the criteria that had come forward, and I will tell you that it took as of June 30th of 23, we had 20 municipalities that were not able to issue their reports within that year, and that is a long time frame. And here we are at the end of December, 6 months later, and we are still struggling with Bill, I don't know off the top of my head. Thank you.
Eight
Thank you.
Municipalities.
8 municipalities who still have not. So again, I think they need to try to get the resources that they need to be able to jumpstart and finish what they to get back on timeline with that. But it also begs to differ that what's going on in this industry as far as staffing is concerned, and audits, and even auditors, it's across the country, I would say. And we recently, I recently took we have a governmental sustainability group that brings together all municipalities across the states. And during that meeting, some of those states are actually stepping in and starting to, look to see whether, job fairs are needed, and working with colleges so that the accounting industry doesn't continue to lack talent in this area. So, it's something to be talked about, and possibly for a good thing for this commission to be aware of. I know you hear it at GFOA as well.
Yeah, we do. And it's, on the accounting side, don't quote me on this, but a reference was made that the last time the candidates sat for the CPA exam, it was the lowest amount of candidates taking that exam. And I don't want to say necessarily recorded history, but in quite a long time. So the trend is certainly not good.
I have read that as well, that it might be time to take a look at things. But again, that goes to a much higher level than this board.
I know with GFOA, a lot of our discussions, we're focused in on trying to find ways to help those accountants that were already employed, if you will, within a city or a town. But as far as efforts on the recruitment side, just to draw interest of college graduates, or even, high schoolers going into college, focusing in the area of accounting, it certainly, provides for a good way of life. It's a good career option, but certainly, and it's not just this industry, but it's certainly problematic from drawing interest at this stage of the game. And discussions, I think, to be had, as you mentioned, Kim, rather, going forward, is does the state look to try and assist, or through the organizations like this one, like GFOA, where there's just a movement, if you will, or a progressive dialogue moved forward, be it with the colleges and hospital and high schools in the state of Connecticut, to try and make this happen, at least to turn the tide a little bit from the standpoint of again drawing interest into this field.
Yeah, one of the neat things that I learned in that governmental sustainability was one of the states actually, the town put their town hall in space on a college campus, and is building internships and working directly with the university to try to bridge that gap, and so that particular town wouldn't be experiencing shortfalls of staff in that arena. And I thought that was a very creative idea, as maybe some of our municipalities, I don't know if they would look to do that, but at least maybe connecting definitely with the colleges.
I also recommend connecting with high schools. We started last year with a high school internship as part of our effort to increase knowledge of the actuarial profession, but particularly in underserved communities. And our office here is in Windsor, which has a very diverse population, and we're close to Hartford and on a bus line. And it took a little bit of doing because the schools are not necessarily equipped to facilitate surfacing the people who might be interested. But I think that's something a municipality might be able to do through existing Parks and Rec or youth programs better than a local business. And it's if nothing else, it's a job. It's an introduction to world of adult working, and maybe is going to spark some interest in financial matters for kids in high school.
Yeah, and along those lines, I can tell you here in Waterbury, this past summer was the first summer where there was a high school internship summer program that was rolled out. We had approximately 60 high schoolers that they had the option of doing multi-weeks in one location or 1 week in one given department and then moving on throughout various departments in the city. Overall, I think it was a success. And you know, as the next few months proceed, you know, we'll be, you know, really looking to make any improvements in the program that need to be made and have a successful rollout for the summer of 2024. But if nothing else, you know, these high schoolers, they may not necessarily have learned, you know, with any degree of specifics about a given operation, how things are done, if you will, but just the exposure alone, I think, gives them the opportunity to see that, you know, there's people with professional careers, whether it be in you know, obviously for us, it's close to home in finance, but we had high schoolers that were over in our Bureau of Water, our water pollution control facility, and our building department, and our engineering department, just to try and raise awareness to these high schoolers that, you know, this exists, if you will, because, you know, not that I can fully recollect back to high school, but wouldn't have had any clue really as far as the role and function of municipal government in play every day. So Becky, you know, it's great that, you know, I think that is the area, you know, to look at the high schoolers, you know, and, you know, then they can give some thought as far as what their post-secondary education is going to look like and what they want to do.
Right. You take kids who at the moment, all they know is I'm good at numbers, right? And don't know what to do with that once they're grown-ups. Well, we can show them some things they might be able to do with that skill set. Right. I do need to run now to my next appointment, though. It was good seeing you all. I'll look forward to seeing you in 24. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year, happy holidays.
Yeah, and I think before we close out, for everyone, certainly have a healthy and safe and enjoyable holiday season. I'm new at this, as you can tell. So are we at the point for a motion to adjourn?
I move that motion.
Yes. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Everyone have a great holiday.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah. Have a great holiday, everybody.
Bill,
Happy
thank you.
holidays.
Good night.
Bye-bye.